Hello, welcome to another video of JavaScript. In this video we will talk about immediately invoked function expression. In short way we can say it as a IIFE, IIFE. That means immediately invoke function expression. So as you can see in this screen that I have a app.js file, and inside it you can see that this is the traditional function expression and it is a anonymous function because it's don't have any name. So what is the benefit of it? We can call add with this parenthesis and we have to give the value or like this way. So this is the basic requirement for the traditional one, and if you'll see, if you want to see the result, then you have to make it as a console.log. okay, console, and then inside this if you'll call it you will get the output. Just save it, just use the Control S, save it, and then if you'll execute it, immediately you will get the result as a 11. But we have to explicitly call this particular function with this parenthesis. You want to execute a function immediately, but you don't want to call what I have done in this case. Then what is the process? So for that there is a immediately invoke function. Okay, let's check the basic syntax. So you don't need this type of add variable, as well as you can pass the parameter inside it, or you cannot. It's your choice. If you want to pass the parameter, then you can pass, otherwise you don't have to pass anything if you don't want to pass. Then after that you have to give the console log. Okay, and after that inside this, if you want to write something, you can write like this one. And we know that in case of function, immediately invoke function, we have to give a bracket like this one, like this one. So inside this first bracket you have to write your code. So if you write inside this first bracket, it will the function will be valid one. But if you will not give any first bracket, just let me remove it, and if you will save it, you can see that there is a issue, and if you will run it, you will get one problem. That what is the problem? Function statement required a function name. But to resolve the issue, you have to give this bracket, first bracket, and now if you'll save it, you can, if you'll execute it, then you can see that no error is there, right? And now if you want to execute it, what do we have to do? We have to give a first bracket like this, and after that you have to give the semicolon. And now if you'll execute it, this will execute immediately. For that you have to save it, and let me execute it, and you can see that this is showing the function that I have passed as a string value over here. Okay, now what is this first bracket? This first bracket is nothing but we already know that to execute a function, okay, to execute a function we have to give like this first bracket. So we are this is the reference of the function, and using the first bracket we are saying that please execute that particular function. In the same way, this one is the function itself, and using this first bracket we are actually executing that particular function. Now one question may arise in your mind that if I want to pass a parameter, then what is the process of it? When we call a function, that time what we do, we pass a actual value like this one, and then we call it, right? So in the same way, if you want to pass a parameter, then inside this bracket you have to give the value, actual value, and if the function is taking any parameter, then you have to give the parameter like this one, right? And after that inside it you can add those variable value. Like if I'll specify here var c equal to a plus b, and then you have to give semicolon, and here you can print the c, value of c. So let me execute this one, then you will be able to see it. So first I have to save it, and then I have to execute, and you can see easily that function 15, so it is actually giving the value of the addition. So one way, is it possible to use the same kind of function in arrow function? Obviously that is possible. So you know that to execute a arrow function, what do you have to do? Just let me copy this function, and we don't have any function keyword in case of arrow function. We just have this signature, right? So if we'll execute it, this will also run. So let me give the name as a arrow function, okay, and then what we'll do, we'll just save it by Ctrl S, and then let me execute it. You can see that this one is the result for this particular function, and this one is the result for this particular function. So using this way we can execute our function immediately. Okay, now let me talk about some important aspects and points about this IIFE function, that is immediately invoked function expression. So this function expression creates an anonymous function. Why it is anonymous function? Because it defined within the parenthesis and turning into an expression rather than an declaration. Okay, and the function has no name, making it an anonymous function. And this function, we know that it immediately invoked. This function is immediately invoked or called right after its definition. The additional pair of parentheses that we have given after the function declaration, it triggers the execution of the function immediately. And one more important point that you have to remember, that it helps for the encapsulation. Okay, the primary purpose of this IIFE is to create a new scope of variable, and variable declared inside the IIFE do not pollute the global scope, providing a form of encapsulation. For example, let me make it as a comment, okay, and below we'll provide a code like this one. So you can see that this is also immediately invoked function, and we have a var local variable and I am local variable to the IIFE. And if you want to console it, and if you want to print in the console, then you can print this particular variable. If you'll try to access this local variable outside this function, let me save it, and then if you'll execute it, you will get error. So first one, it is actually showing this one, I am local to the IIFE, and after that in this line number 19 you are getting one error that you can see here over 19 number line. It is showing the reference local variable is not defined. So that means this is not possible to access the local variable that is present on that function outside of the global level. So that is very much important over here. Now let me try one more example so that it will be more easier for you. So here I have written one function IIFE, and here we have a variable, common variable, and it is talking about I am common var variable in the IIFE, and we have another variable which is outside of this IIFE function. Okay, IIFE expression and common variable, I am a different common variable, and we are trying to console the value of it. So let me save it, then it will be more easier for you if you'll see the output over here, that you can see that I am common variable in IIFE. So this particular variable is different, this variable is different, so there is no conflict of the global scope of a variable and local scope of a variable. So using the IIFE, it's a common pattern to avoid the naming conflicts, and if you have a variable or function with the same name in different part of your code, then wrapping them in an IIFE help to isolate them. IIFE is commonly used to create new scope for variable which will prevent them from the polluting the global scope. This helps avoid naming conflicts and unintended behavior of variable modification. So in summary, we can say that immediately invoked function execution is a way to execute function immediately after it's created and providing a private scope and avoiding the polluting the global scope. And it's a common pattern in JavaScript, especially in the scenario where you need to create isolated environments or execute code once without having behind global variable. So I hope you understood about the IIFE. If you have any question, you can write it in the comment section. We will try to resolve as soon as possible. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one.